in this crooked game of power politics here in America, the Negro, namely the race problem, integration, civil rights issue, are all nothing but tools used by the whites who call themselves liberals against another group of whites who call themselves conservatives, either to get into power or to retain power. Among whites here in America, the political teams are no longer divided into Democrats and Republicans. The whites who are now struggling for control of the American political throne are divided into liberal and conservative camps. The white liberals from both parties cross party lines to work together toward the same goal, and white conservatives from both parties do likewise. The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives. The American Negro is nothing but a political football, and the white liberals control this ball through tricks or tokenism, false promises of integration and civil rights. In this game of deceiving and using the American Negro, the white liberals have complete cooperation of the Negro civil rights leader, who sell our people out for a few crumbs of token recognition, token gains, token progress.
Look, when I say white progressive women are cancer, of course you understand I don't mean all. And when I say progressive, I don't actually mean liberal. I know Malcolm X was saying liberal, but I actually think this is dated, and I think that there is a part of the Liberal Party that has now going extremely far left and has just become radical, fanatical progressives. When I say progressive, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about liberals, classical Democrats, moderate liberals. I am talking about these crazy, fanatical, cult-like maniacs on the progressive left. And that's what I'm talking about. If you look at their demographic, the majority of them are white women, white progressive women.
Hey TikTok, do you ever wake up in the morning and think you just want to burn it all to the ground? And what I mean by burning it all to the ground is those old white men and the women who support them.
The older I've gotten, I've realized like progressive policies are the worst. And they usually hurt the most vulnerable the most. They usually hurt the communities they say they're trying to help, but as a whole, they hurt society completely, right? And when I say progressive policies, I am not talking about liberal policies. I'm not talking about gay marriage, or I'm not talking about civil rights laws, even though I actually don't have a problem with businesses be able to refuse services to anyone, and I think the market should be able to say whether that business survives or not. But civil rights laws, as you can't deny someone an education because of the color of their skin, you can't deny someone health care because of the color of their skin or the sex or the gender or sexuality or whatever, that's gender expression. You can't deny someone basic things like water, to their home because of their color of their skin. And I think it should start covering like political ideologies or political labels as well. And I'm not talking about like social safety nets or just like basic human rights, right? I am talking about progressive policies like the welfare state, like affirmative action that did have a place in time at some point. However, it does hurt more than it helps today. And that's a whole different video if you want me to get into that. I'm talking about things like defunding the police. I'm talking about things like thinking 5-year-olds should be able to choose their sex. I'm talking about things like modern day feminism, and some might even say second wave feminism. I'm talking about this fake idea of hate speech and censorship that a lot of progressives seem to support and applaud. And the fact that they think obesity is actually healthy. The fact that they think it's a good idea to teach preschoolers, kindergartners, and 7-year-olds about sex and sexuality. And I don't necessarily think that progressive women are like evil. I honestly think they're doing the right thing, even though like I've spent a lot of time with progressive men and women, but mostly women, and the stuff they say is some of the most racist, patronizing things I've ever heard come out of a human's mouth. And the scary part is that they don't actually know what they're saying is racist. That's the scary part, right? Like that study that came out, I think Harvard or Stanford, that said like white progressives actually dumb down their language for black people. They actually think they're doing the right thing. Or white progressives who think that black people are too poor, too dumb, too broke, too ignorant to know how to get an ID because they actually think voter ID is racist. They don't understand how racist and patronizing their belief system is. Or supporting something like abortion when they don't realize that overwhelmingly it affects the black community. Overwhelmingly so, because that was what it was meant to do in the first place. I think they truly believe they're doing the right thing, so I'm not trying to demonize them. However, the leaders of these activist groups, like in Black Lives Matter, the politicians, the Democratic leaders, the people that are controlling the media, the narrative, and the propaganda, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing 100%. They never change their stripes. The Democratic Party never switched sides. It's not just white people, it's black people who do it too. But honestly, a lot of the black people who go along with this rhetoric, they have also been indoctrinated by universities or social media or media. I know a couple of people who said that not only did they not have this belief system or was obsessed with race until they got to universities, but also caused them massive mental health issues because they were basically injected with fear and anxiety. They were depressed because now they have been told and indoctrinated to believe that the world was scary and everybody was out to get them just because of the color of their skin or what was between their legs or their gender expression or their sexuality, and they didn't recover from their mental health issues until they got out of the universities and left that ideology. If you look at these crazy screeching protesters, they look mentally ill. Teachers who are so neurotic, who thinks that their teaching is about them, their pronouns, and their sexuality. Was they always neurotic, or did they become more neurotic when they got into these indoctrination camps? I am sick and tired of people using my race, my sex, my sexuality, my gender expression, or what have you, to push their own fucking stupid ass propaganda and their stupid ass narrative that doesn't do anybody any good and actually hurts the people they say they're trying to help. And the proof in the pudding is that they don't actually care about the communities they say they're trying to help, is because when a black person, when a gay person, when a trans person says, I don't agree with you, they shoot them down, they try to cancel them, they try to censor them, because they don't actually care about them. They say black voices matter until the black voice disagrees with you. They say women's voices matter until the women's voice disagrees with you, and then you accuse her of having internalized misogyny. It's a cult. It's about the ideology and not about the people. They use the people. They use other people's empathy levels to push their freaking cult-like propaganda through, and the narratives through, and the ideologies through, and I'm kind of just sick of it. But more and more people of color are actually waking up to this. More and more people of color are seeing that we have been used and abused for so long, and we very much have been duped. It's like this weird domestic violence relationship where they promise they're going to change and they promise they're going to do better, but then the next 4 years they do absolutely nothing but harm us anymore. And then the next 4 years coming along, they throw out a bunch of racist tropes and tell you, we promise to do better and we promise to change. It's the same cycle, and a lot of people of color are starting to wake up to that. And not just people of color, women, trans, LGBTQ alike. And this is why they're trying to develop another oppression community. This is one of the reasons why they're so pro-immigration, because they need to develop another oppression class. If you want to stay in this country, if you want your family to stay in this country, if you want these DACA kids to stay in this country, you better vote for us. The same thing when it comes to gender. They are hyper-focused on gender because they're trying to create this whole oppression class by trying to convince everyone that they're not the gender they were born into, and that they need to change their gender or change their gender expression. And I'm not saying that that doesn't apply to some people, but overwhelmingly that the massive increase and influx of that is not natural. And so they're trying to create a different oppression class. So it's like, we think your gender is really important, so vote for us, because they realize they're actually losing the people of color. They're losing our attention because they're starting to wake up to their absolute bullshit. And I know a lot of people want to go say, it's like, but what have the conservatives done? The conservatives done nothing for black people and gay people and trans people. The conservatives never claimed to be doing that in the first place. The difference between conservatives conservatives and Democrats is that the conservatives never hyper-focus on one group. They focus on America as a whole, right? How do we make America and keep America strong? Which is usually the economy and education, right? And so for them, it's like if we can improve, if we can get people to get a better education, better their lives with a self-accountability and responsibility, get them jobs, get them working to, you know, give into the market, then the country itself will stay strong. So the stronger individuals we have, the more educated individuals we have the more working individuals we have, then the country as a whole would do better. They never hyper-focus on one group or another. They just hyper-focus on the country as a whole, whether you agree with that or not. But they're not the ones claiming to. The Democrats are, and they have failed at it for decades now. Stuff like gay marriage, that wasn't pushed through the Democrats. That was pushed through the people. Because if you don't remember, because a lot of people have short memories, even Obama, his first year, was against gay marriage. They weren't pro-gay marriage until the public was okay with gay marriage. They weren't pro-civil rights until the public was pro-civil rights. Like recently, the Republicans or the Conservative Party has kind of catered to, I guess, the other groups like people of color and the LGBT or whatever, mostly people of color. I think it's because they realize that their marketing and their narrative has been like really bad throughout the years, because a stuffy white man in a suit talking about the economy is just not sexy. Right? But if you get young people of color or young gay or young trans or whatever to speak these things and have these who generally have this mindset, that brings in a different audience. And I think that that's what they're doing now, but before they never really focused on that, which I'm not saying is a good thing or a bad thing. And just to be transparent with you guys, I'm not a conservative, but I'm definitely not a progressive. If anything, I'm a moderate libertarian that dabbles in the classical liberalism, but for the most part, I'm just a free-spirited hippie. However, I recognize that conservatism is the best thing to build the foundation to a community, even for people like me, even for people in the counterculture. Because with stability comes freedom. I feel like with progressives, it's just chaos. They have no boundaries, they have no principles, and they have no real values. They have an ideology and they have a cult. But anyway, guys, tell me what you think of this video. I don't agree with everything he said throughout his history and what he stood for throughout his history, but the difference between me and progressives or the left is that they like to cherry pick from Malcolm X's life. Whatever quote he said that kind of fits their narrative at the time, they will post on their IG or TikTok, and they never actually follow his out throughout his career. When Malcolm X actually started being less fanatical and more mature and more well-rounded with his belief systems, that is when he got killed. When he stopped pushing extremist ideas, that is when he got killed. When he stopped pushing their narrative, that is when he got killed. Anyway, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that button to get notifications when I do upload. All that really does help with the algorithm. If you'd like to support the channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below. I also have a second travel vlog channel. I travel as a lifestyle or live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go to the description box below and also in the comment section. Hit the link, go subscribe to my travel vlog channel, and or follow me on my travel Instagram. My storage is usually what's most up to date. And you guys have an amazing day. Bye.
Calico.